God's prophetic word, $3 trillion inheritance belongs to you. Prayer for money. My beloved, pause with me and don't rush past this breath, because what reaches you right now is not casual, it is appointed. And I am speaking to you as plainly as a friend who knows every hallway of your heart, every quiet sigh, every restless midnight, every tear you thought disappeared into the dark. And I tell you, none of it was wasted. None of it slipped my sight. And this hour has been shaped so your spirit could meet my voice and receive what has long been sealed for you. Hear me again. Slowly and clearly, poverty was never written to be your name. Lack was never designed to define your days. You were never created to count coins with trembling hands or rehearse apologies for wanting more. You were created to stand, to steward, to shine, and to trust the source that never runs dry. Because out of the depths I saw your endurance and honored it. I watched the nights you pretended to sleep while worry paced the room. And I counted every small act of faith you performed when no applause came. And those quiet seeds ripened in the unseen. Now a harvest is breaking through for you, and in my treasury a portion bears your name. Stay with me here. I know doubt can be a habit. Pain teaches it. Scarcity rehearses it, but covenant unlearns it. So when I speak of abundance, I don't invite you into fantasy. I invite you into alignment, because blessings were never museum pieces to admire behind glass. They are living rivers designed to move through willing hands. If you step forward, the river grows wider. If you freeze in hesitation, the current detours to another field. And that is why I speak plainly. With love and urgency, hesitation steals destiny. So let's talk about vision. See the turnaround not as digits, but as a sign that what was stolen in shame is restored in dignity. See debts melting like frost under the morning sun. See your name washed clean of whispering accusations. See the doors that mocked you opening on oiled hinges, and feel the hush that falls when those who doubted watch the faithful hand of heaven lift you. This is not vanity, child. This is a mantle to steward, a call to carry resources that lift families, restore dignity, heal neighborhoods, and plant hope like trees beside long, dry rivers. What I entrust is never for hoarding. It is for flow, and you are being appointed as a conduit through which my compassion runs strong. Hear this, because I want you to understand both the majesty and the method I am moving angels, opening doors, realigning relationships, and shifting systems even now. Opportunities once sealed will ease open, and favor will walk you into rooms that previously declined your presence. Yet remember, blessing requires posture. Bow with humility, move with wisdom, speak faith aloud, and watch unseen hands set the stage. To help you stand steady in this, I'm going to teach you how spirit meets structure. Because a gift without guidance becomes a burden. Begin your day with a simple practice of a heartfelt prayer for financial breakthrough. Not as a charm to attract money, but as a conversation that renews courage, clarifies purpose, and trains your heart to recognize provision when it arrives. Then match that posture with steps. List your obligations, track your spending, name your goals in clear words, give and save before you spend, and set dates you can honor. This is what it means to make your faith visible. Let me tell you a real story you can hold like a compass. There was a woman named Mara who kept a tiny notebook in her bag. She wrote every expense down, even the cup of street coffee and the bus fare. And each night she whispered, "Poverty was never written to be my name." Then she added a small prayer for finances, asking for wisdom to manage the little she had. One evening, after she helped a neighbor rewrite a resume, her neighbor mentioned her name to a cousin who needed help organizing a shop's inventory. It wasn't a grand, glittering door, just a side gate no one was guarding. And Mara took it. She showed up early, learned the software after hours on a borrowed phone, and kept praying. Short, honest prayers, not fancy ones. And the shop owner noticed. In 3 months, Mara moved from part-time to manager. In 6 months, she negotiated supplier discounts that paid for themselves. In 1 year, she had trained 2 other assistants and started a Saturday class at her community center showing people how to budget in simple steps. When asked how she got lucky, she smiled and said, "I did my part, and heaven did heaven's part, because that is the alchemy of obedience. Faith plants, action waters, and grace gives the increase." Her story is not to say your path will copy hers line for line, but to show you that doors often start as small hinges, and the hinges swing for those who keep the oil of prayer, persistence, and practical action close at hand. So let me ask you, where do you need to lay down the old habit of doubt and pick up a fresh word of trust? Which bill, which project, which idea have you avoided because the numbers scared you? And what would happen if tonight you wrote it down, blessed it, and took one brave step toward resolution? If you and I walked your street right now, which neighbor would you serve, knowing that generosity distills fear and opens lanes you cannot plot on a spreadsheet? What rhythm of giving could you adopt this week that would retrain your heart to attract money as a servant? Not a master. Stay with me and speak with me. Let your next whisper be a prayer for financial breakthrough that carries gratitude in one hand and a plan in the other. Thank you for what I have. Show me what to do with it, and let your next action be a note on paper, a call, a draft, a budget, a yes to learning, a no to waste, a boundary that saves your future self from the fatigue of constant recovery. Because when vision and discipline marry, increase finds a home. And if you've worried that asking for more is selfish, let me settle that storm wanting enough to cover your life. Seed goodness and relieve the strain of others is not greed. Greed hoards for fear. Love stewards for freedom. You are not asking to sit above anyone. You are asking to stand tall enough to reach back and lift. That is why your words matter. Try this tonight. Speak a short prayer for finances, line by line, naming the specific needs and the specific purpose of the abundance: rent, tuition, medicine, debt freedom, tools for work, gifts for community, and then bless the hands through which the blessing will pass. Do you feel how that realigns your posture from craving to calling? Remember. I am not telling you to chase shiny illusions. I am training you to recognize true provision and to carry it with purity. You will budget without panic, save without scarcity, give without resentment, and spend without shame. You will practice patience while opportunities mature and courage when it's time to step. As you keep this rhythm, you'll notice how seemingly small choices begin to attract money in healthy ways. You'll compare prices, read contracts, ask one more question before signing, and decline the deals that look fast but cost your peace. You'll discover that excellence itself is a magnet. People trust those who keep their word, who arrive prepared, who do the unglamorous parts of work well. And that trust creates lanes for income that hype can't manufacture. So, will you choose agreement now? Not with fear, but with your future. Will you seal this moment by speaking aloud what you believe? Lack is not my name. Wisdom is my path. Stewardship is my joy. And will you share this hope with someone who needs light for their next step? You can nod where you are, lift a hand, or simply whisper, Amen. What matters is that your heart turns from surviving to receiving, from grasping to growing. And because I promised clarity, let me address the number that startled you. You heard a promise of resources on a scale that sounds beyond reach, and you wondered if it could ever touch your real street. Let me reframe it. Think of $3 trillion in the language of purpose rather than spectacle, a symbol of inexhaustible sufficiency flowing through many hands to mend what is broken. For you, it translates into specific provision arriving at the right time and scale: a bill cleared, a door opened, a partnership formed, a debt forgiven, a craft rewarded. I am not asking you to keep staring at a headline number. I am asking you to keep walking in headline faith, the kind that makes news in your own house. Hold fast to the truths worth repeating. Poverty was never written to be your name. Lack was never designed to define your days. Hesitation steals destiny. And let them be guardrails for your mind when old fears circle back. Speak them while you draft your plan, while you send your resume, while you price your work fairly, while you teach your children generosity and grit, and while you continue your simple, steady prayer for financial breakthrough each morning and each night. If you want a practical starting list for today, choose one expense to cut, one skill to develop, one act of generosity to complete, and one courageous conversation to schedule. Pair these with a 10-minute prayer for finances that invites wisdom into your decisions. And then take one concrete action that signals you're ready to steward more. As you do, watch how your inner weather changes and how opportunities begin to notice you. Because hope that rolls up its sleeves does not go unnoticed. Child, you are not a mistake. You are chosen. Your name is inked on a scroll of blessing, and gratitude is the doorway your eyes are adjusting to right now. Keep your heart open. Keep your words aligned. Keep your steps honest, and let your life become a testimony that quiet faith and persistent action can attract money without losing your soul. And before we close, let me leave you with questions that keep you moving. Which habit will you retire tonight to make room for the person you're becoming? Which mentor will you seek? Which book will you read? Which opportunity will you revisit with fresh courage? How will you weave generosity into your week so that your hands stay open and your heart stays free? Lessons to seal in your spirit and practice as you go. You were designed for stewardship, not scarcity. Covenant identity rewrites financial history. Consistent prayer for financial breakthrough keeps your heart tuned to guidance. Practical budgeting is an altar where wisdom and worship meet. Generosity is not loss, but strategy. Excellence builds trust that opens doors. And when faith and action walk together, you become a river, steady, clear, and unstoppable, through which blessings move to heal your house and the world around you. Now breathe, speak your amen, and step, beloved listener, take a deep breath and open your heart. For what I am about to share with you is not just a message, it's a reminder of who you truly are and the power that flows within you through God Jesus. You see, there were mornings when you woke up tired before the day even began, carrying the weight of yesterday's worries as though they were chained to your spirit. I know those moments when you looked at the few coins in your hand, trembling as you whispered a money prayer, asking how long they would last. But have you ever paused to realize that those moments of struggle were not punishment? They were preparation. Every tear, every delay, every door that seemed closed was not God's rejection, but His redirection, shaping your heart and aligning it with divine purpose. There's a saying in Scripture that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Jeremiah 29:11. Isn't that powerful? Every challenge you faced became the soil in which greatness could take root. You might have thought God was withholding blessings from you, but in truth, He was strengthening your foundation, ensuring that when the flow of abundance came, it wouldn't crush you. It would carry you higher. Imagine for a moment what good would $3 trillion be if your heart wasn't ready to hold it with humility and wisdom. Money, when received without spiritual grounding, can be heavy. But when guided by grace, it becomes light. It becomes purpose. That's the secret of the law of attraction. When united with divine faith, your thoughts, your prayers, your words, and your belief work together to manifest what God already placed within you. Now the season has changed. The release has begun. You are ready for overflow, not just material, but spiritual, emotional, and divine. Are you ready to receive it? Do you feel it stirring within your chest right now? The time has come to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Don't shrink back, thinking you're unworthy. God, Jesus, doesn't call the worthy. He makes the called worthy. What He assigns to you, no one can take away. The abundance coming your way is not merely for you. It's for purpose. It will fill your home, yes, but it will also ripple out to bless others, to feed the hungry, clothe the forgotten, and lift the weary. You are becoming a vessel, a living stream through which mercy and provision flow freely. Yet hear this. Beloved, wealth is not just a gift, it is a test. It reflects the heart of the one who holds it. If pride creeps in, abundance turns into a trap. But if humility reigns, that same abundance becomes a river of blessing. So guard your heart. Remember the nights when you had little, for those nights birthed your compassion. Let that memory shape how you give, how you serve, and how you love. Money can build walls or bridges. It's the heart behind it that decides. And you, chosen one, were never meant to build walls. You were meant to open doors. Picture your home now, can you see it? The laughter echoing through the halls, the table filled with food and joy, your children free from fear, your parents finally resting in peace instead of worry. This, my friend, is not just a dream. It's your new reality unfolding before you. It's what happens when endurance meets destiny, when faith meets divine timing. So let your spirit rise with gratitude. Whisper your money prayer not in desperation, but in confidence. Trust that the law of attraction and the power of God Jesus are working together in your favor. Let every dollar, every blessing, every opportunity remind you that you were chosen for this. As it is written, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. Can you feel it? That's not just money. It's divine provision flowing your way. Receive it, live it, and let your abundance be the story that inspires others to believe again. Beloved, lean in and let me speak to you directly. The scroll of blessing has been unsealed, and your name is written across it in letters that do not fade. And the treasury of heaven has released a portion no hand can steal, no system can block, no enemy can delay. Therefore, do not treat this as common, and do not walk away as though this were another passing word. But stay here and receive it, because $3 trillion has been loosed into your atmosphere. Not a gimmick, not a headline, but a symbol of unimaginable capacity God is placing over your life. And as you hear this, let faith be the anchor that secures the flow of provision, while stillness becomes the harbor where your confidence rests. For the Lord is building more than your future. He is building a legacy so broad that generations will live in the shade of what He plants through you now, and what you carry will outlast you. For this is not temporary relief but a covenant, not an emotional high but a generational shift. Just as it is written, I will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing you cannot contain. Malachi 3:10, and my God will supply all your needs. Philippians 4:19. Because you live in the real world of bills, deadlines, and decisions. Hear this with both faith and wisdom. Stay in alignment, and you will see doors swing open, chains break, and your story rewritten in honor. Alignment looks like prayer before urgency, integrity before shortcuts, generosity before fear, and disciplined stewardship in the ordinary things, tracking expenses, reducing debts, asking for counsel, expanding skills, so that the extraordinary has a place to land. And as you walk this out, let your daily prayer for money be more than a request for cash, and instead a request for clarity, favor, and wise action, because the blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Proverbs 10:22. Child, I have seen enough of your tears. Now I decree joy. I have seen enough of your shame. Now I decree dignity. I have seen enough of your lack. Now I decree abundance. Step into this truth with confidence, because I, the Lord your God, am with you. And while you pause and let these words sink deeper, understand the urgency when a word like this arrives. It does not come to entertain you, but to employ you, to set you to work in faith, courage, and follow through. I know the sting of disappointment you endured when doors slammed and people doubted. But those closures were not final judgments. They were redirections. And while others mistook your struggle for weakness, I saw strength. While they judged your lack as failure, I saw faith. And even when your faith was only a whisper and your hope flickered like a faint flame, it caught my attention. Which is why this decree rests upon you now. Hear this clearly again, until it becomes marrow in your bones. $3 trillion has been written into your destiny. Not as fantasy, not as a far-off idea, but as reality marked and sealed by my hand. And the trembling you feel in your chest is not fear, but confirmation that your spirit recognizes this word belongs to you. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Therefore, out of the multitude I chose you because you endured when others quit. You clung to hope when others mocked you. You lifted your eyes when storms raged. Now convert endurance into strategy. Update your resume or refine your business plan. Call the mentor you've been avoiding. Negotiate the salary you've earned. Price your services with dignity. Save a portion of every increase, and seed generosity into places where need meets purpose. For the same God who releases promises equips hands to build them. And as you move, let a financial prayer rise from your lips morning and night. Something simple but steady, Lord. Establish the work of my hands. Teach me to steward increase without fear, and let that financial prayer shape your actions, because blessings flow with belief, and streams move where faith makes room. If you push this aside or belittle it with doubt, what was meant for you may be carried elsewhere, and the enemy would delight in your hesitation and celebrate if you turn away in unbelief. So deny him that victory by fastening your heart to this word and walking it out in the small choices of today, remembering that it is he who gives you power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18. And while you contend in faith, also keep your spirit soft with gratitude and your schedule open for service, for favor often knocks disguised as responsibility. In the meanwhile, keep a quiet, steady prayer for money miracle on your tongue, not frantic, not grasping, but trusting, because a prayer for money miracle is most potent when partnered with honest work, ethical decisions, and holy boldness to ask, seek, and knock. Finally, let your everyday language agree with heaven by speaking life over your accounts, your household, and your calling. And let your brief prayer for money be joined to consistent action, so that as opportunity arrives, you are ready to sign the contract, lead the team, launch the venture, and bless others without fear. And in all of this, remember, God hasn't merely promised to change your numbers. He is changing your name, from the one who barely scrapes by to the one who builds, from the one who was overlooked to the one who opens doors for others. So move now with reverence and courage, because what He releases to you today is meant to ripple through decades, renewing your household and lighting the path for those who will come after you. Let faith rise like the morning sun, steady and sure. Keep your heart open, because the moment you close it, blessings lose their way to reach you. Speak words that align your spirit with heaven. Say with confidence that lack is broken off your life forever, that abundance is your portion, and your name is written in the book of divine blessing. When you speak with faith, you set spiritual motion in the unseen. Angels begin to move, doors start to open, and miracles start aligning with your words. Have you ever wondered how powerful your own voice is when you speak with belief? It's not just a whisper into the air, it's a command that heaven honors. As you speak today, take a moment of action to seal it. Comment 111 right now, not as superstition, but as a signal that you are in divine rhythm, that heaven and earth are working together for your breakthrough. This is not by accident. This is your sign of alignment. You might have felt that God was silent at times, that your prayers for finances and your cry for a prayer for financial breakthrough were going unanswered. But while you thought nothing was happening, He was moving behind the curtain, aligning people, adjusting seasons, redirecting opportunities, and protecting you from battles you didn't even see coming. Sometimes His delay is not denial, it's divine protection. If He had released your blessing earlier, it might have crushed you. But now, the soil of your heart is ready. The foundation of your life is steady. And you can carry the weight of the abundance that's coming without breaking. Have you ever looked back and realized the delay was actually mercy in disguise? Think of the people who doubted you, those who thought you'd never rise again. Soon, their silence will speak volumes. You won't need to defend your journey. The evidence will defend you. Your story will testify that the hand of God rests upon you. Debts will vanish. Doors of opportunity will open wide. You will attract money not by chasing it, but by walking in divine purpose. You'll look around and realize that what once seemed impossible is now your new normal. How will you respond when the blessing arrives? Will you keep it for yourself or use it to bless others? But remember, my friend, this kind of blessing comes with responsibility. God's abundance is not given just for comfort. It's a covenant. It's a mantle to heal, to lift, to restore. When you pray that prayer for financial breakthrough, know that it's not just about your own prosperity. It's about becoming a vessel through which God blesses the world. Imagine having enough not only to live well, but to feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and restore dignity to the broken. What would the world look like if more people used wealth as a tool of love instead of control? God still provides in abundance. He always has, and He always will. Stay anchored in Him, because the moment you drift into pride, greed, or fear, the river of blessing starts to dry up. Humility preserved you. Let it continue to guide you. Compassion will keep your hands open, and faith will keep your heart expectant. Walk in obedience, even when it's hard. Walk in stewardship, managing what you receive wisely. Walk in generosity, knowing that giving never empties you, it multiplies you. Every step you take in alignment strengthens the river of provision that flows through your life. So, lift your head and speak with faith again. Say aloud, lack is broken. Abundance is my portion. My life is in divine alignment. Let this become your prayer for finances, not just for survival, but for overflow. Remember, God doesn't just want to bless you, He wants to make you a blessing. The real story is not how much you receive, but how much light you bring to others once you do. The lesson today is simple yet powerful. When faith speaks, heaven moves. Keep your faith alive, stay humble in prosperity, and let your life be proof that God's abundance is real and endless for those who trust Him completely. Child, let joy replace sorrow. Let gratitude rise where fear once sat. The scroll has been unsealed. Your name has been spoken in heaven's courts, and angels are carrying provision to your doorstep. This is your confirmation. This is your release. Beloved, listen with focus. For what I reveal now is not only about blessing, but about assignment. The scroll that carries your name has been opened, and within it rests a mantle of responsibility. The $3 trillion released into your story is not random. It is a divine tool entrusted to your care. This is not just provision. It is a calling to build, to restore, and to establish. I am raising you as a steward of transformation. What you carry will touch more than your household. It will reach into families who thought hope was gone, into communities overlooked by the world. It is to carve paths where none existed, to lift voices silenced by poverty, to birth dreams smothered by despair. I will bring to you people of wisdom and integrity. Advisors with pure motives will stand beside you. They will not flatter, but sharpen. They will help you build structures strong enough to last for generations. Guard your circle, child. Do not entertain those who come with empty hands. Let humility guide your partnerships, and together you will multiply what I have given. Do not shrink from leadership. I know the weight feels heavy, but I have prepared your shoulders to bear it. You once wondered why burdens pressed on you so fiercely. It was training. The storms did not break you. They built you. They formed resilience. They carved endurance. And now that strength will sustain you in overflow. Picture what I am doing. Homes will stand where families once wandered in search of shelter. Clinics will heal where sickness once ravaged. Businesses will provide work where despair once reigned. Through you, rivers of mercy will flow into deserts of lack. The measure of $3 trillion will not just shift your life, it will alter destiny. Do not treat this lightly. Do not withhold when I nudge you to give. Every act of obedience multiplies. Every seed of generosity returns in greater measure. Your giving will open more gates than strategy alone ever could. I am tearing away the garments of shame that clung to you. The reproach of poverty is gone. The humiliation of lack is broken. Though you will walk clothed in dignity, crowned in honor, and surrounded by favor, beloved, I am not only filling your accounts, I am filling your life with peace. The nights of anxiety are over. The mornings of dread are finished. Joy will rise like the dawn. Confidence will become your language. And as you walk in this, others will find courage to believe again. Stand in this truth now. $3 trillion has been assigned, and no power of man or enemy can overturn it. Walk boldly into this season of enlargement, for I, the Lord your God, go before you. My beloved child, lean closer, for this part is about multiplication. What I am releasing into your life is not a trickle, but a river, and not a single river, but streams flowing in every direction. The $3 trillion I have assigned to you is not simply for relief, it is for expansion. What begins as overflow in your hands will become systems, structures, and legacies that impact generations long after your name is spoken on this earth. Do you remember when you once thought survival was your only goal? Nights spent stretching what little you had, mornings filled with calculations of how long it might last. That chapter is closed. Now I call you into a new chapter where increase is the norm, where dreams once buried come alive, where visions once delayed become realities too large to hide. This blessing is seed as much as it is harvest. If you plant it with wisdom, it will multiply far beyond measure. Invest in what uplifts. Build where hope is absent. Restore where structures have crumbled. Use what I give to create avenues for others to rise. But understand this clearly: stewardship is spiritual. The way you manage what I give reveals the posture of your soul. If you cling tightly in fear, the river will shrink. If you release freely with faith, the river will multiply. Every act of giving creates ripples of blessing. The more you pour, the more I pour back. This is not subtraction. It is multiplication born of faith. I urge you to think beyond your own lifetime. Establish institutions that stand beyond you. Create opportunities for children unborn to thrive because of the seeds you plant today. Let your legacy be marked not by wealth alone, but by the impact it carried into countless lives. Be bold, child, but also wise. I will give you discernment for investments. I will highlight opportunities that align with my heart. For when I guide, risk turns to reward, and the impossible turns to testimony. Teach those who follow you. Pass wisdom, not just wealth. Instruct your children in character before you place currency in their hands. Show them humility, stewardship, and compassion. If they inherit these, they will be prepared to multiply what I entrust. Legacy is not just inheritance. It is formation. Let what I give become a school of wisdom for your household. Above all, when applause comes, let it rise to me. When success is evident, point to the one who authored it. Do not allow pride to cloud what faith has built. Your humility will keep channels open. Your gratitude will keep rivers flowing. Your obedience will keep increase multiplying. This is more than a moment of provision. It is the dawn of multiplication. $3 trillion is the beginning, not the end. It is the seedbed of destiny. Child, rise and steward well, for your story has shifted forever.